You
Memorex.
give your kid
Yeah,
really,
and
they
the
ought to
host
give them
called
some
Sound
Williams. If
Lean.
they say,
Co-host
oh, we
Carl
got,
Williams.
And we got a call on the line. He been on the line. Let's take him right now. I almost cut him off. Caller, you on the air.
Yes,
Hello.
good morning.
Good
Good
morning. What's
morning.
going on, Tyrone?
Oh, well, we vote since 1996. We voted, we demanded. We voted for a city council and the successive city council, starting with the Institute of Art. They collaborated with the state and said the state said we want to take all the assets from the voters of Detroit. We want to take all the assets, and I want you all to go along with it. I'm going to write up a memorandum of agreement and say in 7 days, if you all don't say no, it's ours. And the city council went against our charter. We voted, demanded. Our votes are demanded. And the city council stripped us, collaborated with the state. That's how they took the zoo. That's how they took Cobo Hall. The Black City, Successive City Council stripped us. We don't have any assets. And those assets was our collective money. We paid for all those, the Cobo Hall, the water, zoo, Eastern Market. So our demand through voting has failed in that sense. So I looked and you all said, I agree with you. You got gangster governor, gangster mayor, and and the lawyers are double agents, and they become judges. How do you win in those institutions? Because most of the judges and magistrates, they all went to law school or something like that, and they all become lawyers, become judges. So they are double agents. How do you win in the court system? I'm just asking you all, how can you win in the court system when it's set up like that, and when most of them are owned by Maroon, like that girl Shanae Jackson? They get elected, then when they're unelected, they go work for that revolving door, work for corporation, Ken Crockett Jr., and all that. When you got people like that you elect, and you all say voting is a demand, our demand ain't working. It must be something else we got to do other than going to court, facing the double agents who become judges, and they're misguiding us. We go to court, the lawyers is misguiding us. Then the judges who used to be lawyers, they are just running roughshod. They don't regard the Constitution, the law, or nothing. And we, as people sitting out here, we do what we say. We vote. So maybe something else we must do other than voting and going to court. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna hang up and see what you all suggested. Am I looking this thing wrong?
It look like you're looking at it right. Okay, we're gonna give you our answer
Okay,
offline.
now.
Okay,
Well, we're gonna be on extra half an hour,
going to
so
10:30.
we're going to 10:30. So stay tuned.
What do you think about that, Carl?
Well, I can't disagree with him, but the thing is, you have to know what the process is, and not enough people understand that. Like he talked about the judges. Well, through our research, we find out that a lot of these judges are crooked, and they abuse their authority because some of these so-called judges are magistrate judge, which means they had limited powers. They don't have the authority to do the things that they do. But if the people don't know, they can't benefit from it. That was the prime example. Is that was Stephen Rose. He was a magistrate judge. He didn't have the authority to do none of this in regards to the bankruptcy. But very few people knew about it. We couldn't get enough people involved to sign those objections to stop it. We couldn't get no publicity. But he didn't have that authority. A magistrate judge only can make recommendations and report to what they call a senior judge or Article 3 judge. Sometimes it's the Article 1 judge, but most of the time it's the Article 3 judge when you're talking about these matters. So the people had to become aware and understand the process. What we always say, once you, like Theo say, if you knew better, you'll do better. Tyrone put the doom and gloom scenario in, and it do look like that, and I can't disagree with him, but you just have to know what the process is, and you got to work the process to benefit you instead of being the victim of the process.
In other words, we really don't know what's going on.
No, don't have a clue.
Don't know who we're voting for. We vote for people, put them on the school board that are for charter schools. You know, we just can't vote blindfolded. Now, that's another thing. We voting blindfolded. We've got to vet these folks and see who they working for. They're not. How do you go and run for a school board job, non-paying position? Who does that? Most of those people have ulterior motives. It's definitely not to help the city of Detroit public schools or the students. And we have to realize that we are in a fight. Voting is where you cut up or slice up the money that's being given to your cities and state government from the federal government. That's what happens when we vote. We don't know that because we never get anything. We never get anything from the government. And these gangsters in the state of Michigan have been stealing our money. Tyrone is absolutely right when he said they have taken everything. And I wouldn't be that generous to say these thieves and gangsters have taken it when the city council votes to give your stuff away. They didn't take it. You gave it to them. And we allow these people to sit on city council.
They should have been tarred and feathered.
Well, we shouldn't have voted them back on, that's for sure.
And it should be consequences. There's no consequences for them doing this kind of stuff.
And he talked about the 90s. The 90s when Dennis Archer was mayor. Right after Coleman Young left, former Mayor Coleman Young, Dennis Archer, the traitor, stepped in. But then again, he wasn't a Detroiter. He was from Western Michigan, out in Cassopolis, Michigan, farm country on the other side of Jackson somewhere. We don't even know what Cassopolis is. Out around Olivet College where they run a lot of the blacks out of that school. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, and he didn't do nothing.
And he sat on the trustee. He was a board of trustee member of Olivet College and didn't open his mouth. And we talking about Dennis Archer. And that's the same Dennis Archer that's sitting on the state Democratic board right now that's going to make the appointees for the selected people that's going to run for these state offices. Dennis Archer sitting there. Yeah. So we have people like that have done the city of Detroit in, gave away the city of Detroit's assets illegally now. Wasn't nothing lawful about it. Illegally. Here's a part of the Michigan Constitution, Article 9, Section 29, state financing of activities or service required of local governments by state law. Now, if the state law requires the local government to do something, they got to pay for it.
That's
the
right.
state is hereby prohibited from reducing the state finance portion of the necessary cost of any existing activity or service required of the unit of local government by state law. A new activity or service or an increase in the level of any activity or service beyond that required by existing law shall not be required by the legislature or any state agency of local government unless a state appropriation is made and distributed to pay the unit. Now, we don't know that. We don't know that all this stuff Snyder's saying, well, we got to do this with the school. We got to do that for the state, for the city rather. They got to pay for it.
That's right.
Where's the money? They ain't talking about they going to take bill out and charge us. They going to take it and we got to agree to lease the land. It don't say that in the Michigan Constitution. Matter of fact, it say the opposite. They can't do that. That's our land. They got to pay us for that. Detroit was here before there was a state of Michigan.
That's
a whole lot
fact.
of y'all don't know that. I don't know what they learn in civics.
Nothing.
They keep talking about their kindergarten civics class they took. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. If you went there, just say it like it is. You had kindergarten civics. You had preschool civics. So we sure don't know what this Constitution say. And if you want to know state government, that's what you got to read, the Constitution.
That's right.
If we want to know what's going on and how they getting away with these tricks and lies, we've got to read and study the state Constitution. That's the only way we're going to be aware of what they're doing and able to fight to win. Because they're going to court every day. Who is the they? I don't even know. The people that say they're challenging the school board, they're challenging the governor on these various issues, but they never cite the Constitution. How they going to win? What did the gangster governor that we have, Snyder, violate? What did he do wrong? If he didn't violate something in the Michigan Constitution, how did he do something wrong? If it wasn't a federal law, how was it wrong?
Well, he did.
Well, my point is they never cite it.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with you.
They never cite the law.
Because there's one part in here that applies to all public officials take an oath to uphold and support the Constitution. And there's one part in there, I think it's Article 4, Section 51. It's Article 4, Section 51. It's a public health and general welfare. The public health and the general welfare of the people of the state are hereby declared to be matters of primary public concern. The legislature shall pass suitable laws for the protection. I'm going to say that again. The legislature shall pass suitable laws for the protection and promotion of public health. Now, do you see them doing that?
Well, they're going just the opposite.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, back in the 90s, federal government passed a program, a prison building program. That was under Bill Clinton. When he was governor back then in the 90s?
Yeah.
Between him and, I had to find out, was it Bill Clinton's prison building program or was it the Bush's prison building program? But they passed
Probably,
they passed probably both because he came out with the sentencing. But they did that was Clinton, your hero.
yeah, the one they claimed was
First black president. Ain't that something?
That deep.
They gonna give him a designation. White boy from
Because he blew a
Arkansas.
sex. You're going to designate him as black.
Well,
president.
you know, that was Tavis Smiley. That was Tavis Smiley and his crazy self
Yeah,
going around with all that stuff. Travis and Cornel West.
yeah.
Yeah, that was part of their little slick Willie stuff. But anyway, they had that prison program. So that's when all these prisons became, they started building them here in Michigan and they opened up all the prisons, but not just in Michigan, across the country
yeah.
to lock up minorities, to lock up black and Mexicans. Michigan has the largest incarceration population of prisoners in the country. No state is higher than Michigan. Mississippi and Alabama do not lock up more black people than the state of Michigan. So now, how does that fit in with the school system? And at the same time, they were cutting education.
Oh, buddy.
That was the same time they were taking over the public education in the city of Detroit so they could put you in jail. We keep telling y'all, young blood, that they coming after you. The man said, Trump made a speech yesterday. This is President 45, Donald Trump. He said, hey, we want to give you the death penalty. Death penalty.
Don't want to
Immediate execution. An excuse. If you caught with some drug, wait a minute. Here's what I want to know. How do they know if you're a drug dealer or you just out to smoke the drug? If you want to you just want to be you're a purchaser of the drug or you're a drug dealer. Well, I got news for you. You're all black and all you darkies look alike. Isn't that what they say?
That's what they say.
Isn't that what they say? All black folks look alike to us whiteys? Okay. So all of you gonna be drug dealers. I don't care if all you got is a joint. You're just trying to sell that. They didn't say how much you're gonna have to be a drug dealer. But they're not saying that about the white folks. So why are we empowering these people with our money? That's the whole thing right there. That's one of the things we could do is stop giving them our money. We don't want to do that. We just want to be high. We want to be intoxicated. We want to lose our mind.
It look like we done already lost it.
What'd you say? It look like we done already lost our mind?
That's right.
Yeah. And so that's what's going on. And it's a 1-2 punch. The thing is in tandem. They're not coming at us with one. They have always come at us with 2 or 3. We may not see the third one, but we see the 2. Most of it don't see this. They built up prisons to put the folks that have been dumbed down, the school children that turn into teenagers, to turn into adults, in jail, in prison. And they don't mind telling us. We look up and say, what? Is that what was going on? Is that what's going on? So you're supporting their program when you buy the weed. It's just that simple. Look at the program they got now. When we start talking about the redistricting, the legislature, the state redistricting here in Michigan and across the country, all 50 states are going to do it. So they want to give us a redistricting commission. You don't have the right now to draw your own districts. We want the same grubby people, the Dennis Archers that they were going to appoint to the redistricting commission, the John English and the Governor Gangster Snyder that they'll put on a redistricting commission. Why won't Snyder be on there? He'll be a citizen then. And guess what? You won't know who's on the commission anyway. You don't know who's head of the state board. You don't know who's members of the state board of the Democratic Party. If you don't know who on the state Democratic Party, what makes you think you're going to know who's on the redistricting commission? Why would you vote to take that power from the people and we're going to be in charge sooner or later?
You just said it.
Huh?
What you just said.
So they're going to slip that in on us, right?
That's right.
And everybody going to be jumping them down. Oh, yeah, I think it's too political. I think it's too partisan. I think you done lost your rabbit mind. That's what I think. You talking about it's too political. Everything is politics around here.
I believe it.
Everything. Let's take a call. Caller, you on the air.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing this morning?
Okay, and
Fine,
yourself.
how are you?
All right. You guys keep them on these other people on their toes, man. We need that from you. We need that from people like Tyrone. You know, these laws that you guys are speaking of, they're good laws, and these laws were in play, and they was effective until 1965. when it began to benefit you. We just forgot to read what's at the bottom of the page, where it says it exclude black people. We didn't read that part. We missed that. You know, even if it doesn't say that, that's what has actually happened. You're being excluded. Anytime somebody can come in and deprive you of your rights to vote, what they did with that emergency manager crap, you understand? That means they can do anything to you. But what Europeans are doing to blacks here in the city of Detroit, they've been doing. All they've been is fine-tune their practice, try to use a little more discretion as they were doing it. But they've been doing this. You understand? So if I create a law to keep you down, I'm not going to create a way to benefit you. It's not to benefit you in any shape, form, or fashion. And if I got to break the law, which they have done, to keep you from having it so I can stay in control of you, I mean, this is how stupid it is. How do you shut down a school system and you exclude the parents? The parents are not even included in nothing your child learns, where they're going to go to school, and that's $7,000 is following each child. You're totally excluded out of how do a system get set up where that can happen? That's not happening in the Boulder where Mike come from. That's not happening in the English parents' neighborhood. Why does it have to happen here? We have been totally excluded. So the laws that they created for themselves, and it's just begin to benefit us after 1965, we see now that voting ain't going to get it. Marching ain't going to get it, but you said it a few minutes ago. Keep our money in our pocket. That's what they did in the bus boycott. They told them, if you're going to treat us like dogs, and we can't get on that bus and sit down where we want like everybody else, then you're not getting our money. So that's all we have to do today. I don't go downtown now. I wouldn't go downtown and spend a dime because they stole my money to dress it up. Why would I go back down there and give them more money for it? I'm not going downtown and do nothing. That's what all of us need to do. And thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for making it here. Well, you're right about that. Yeah. Don't give them any money. They have to shut down. They will have to shut down. But we keep forgetting them. We forget that we are giving this stuff away. We say take because I guess we don't realize the black folks is going along with that game and giving our stuff away. Now, here's 436, Emergency Management Act, page 12, if you got it, 436. And they talk about what the emergency manager shall do. Emergency manager's assumption and exercise of authority and fiduciary responsibility. That's on, let me go to N. Consolidate or eliminate departments of local government or transfer functions from one department to another and appoint, supervise, and at his or her discretion remove administrators, including heads of departments other than elected officials. Let me read that again. Say that the emergency manager at his or her discretion can remove administrators, including heads of departments other than elected officials. So in the law, it says the emergency manager cannot remove elected officials. But that's not the law we were told. Were we told that, Carl?
No, they lied, said they couldn't do anything that they wanted to under the 436, which we knew they was lying when they said.
And that's Senate Bill number 865 of the regular session of 220. I'm going to give you all the stuff. But all you got to do on your cell phone or computer is punch in Act number 436
and it come up
of 2012. Public Act 436 of 2012, and it'll come up and go to page 12. And that's going to be letter N. And you will see it says they can remove department heads other than elected officials. So they couldn't touch those people, but they're scared to death. Now, think about that. You have a city council that's got a research and analysis division, and what they won't read it. The city council also have their own personal staff, people that they're paying. Nobody ready. Now that's the game they told us. That's the little Mickey Mouse game. Now I don't believe all of them ready, no way. Some of them just lazy and won't read and say, okay, what you want me to do, boss man? But that's the kind of game they've been playing on us. And until we put ourselves in, our own people, meaning our children, our grandchildren, our next door neighbors, somebody out there fighting and protesting and marching with us, then nothing's going to happen. We looking for somebody else to do something that we have to do ourselves. They did it themselves. That's how you take control. We don't mind going to Vietnam and getting shot up and sprayed with Agent Orange and all the rest of that stuff. We don't mind doing any of that. But when it comes to fighting for ourselves here at home, where we don't have to even shoot a gun.
That's all.
Huh?
Said it's fair.
We don't have to shoot a gun. We don't want to do that. Carla, you on the line.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I would just like to address the fact that there is no code between how we deal with those of our same skin complexion that sell us out. And what I mean by that is, you know how gangsters used to do it. You know, they go pick up their paper, maybe a dead fish in there. They may go to work, maybe a tore up bulletproof vest. There's no physical damage being conducted to those of our skin complexion that put us through these type of problems. Now, we able to point them out and actually say who they are, like when you mentioned Dennis Archer. A friend of mine was at Olivet during that situation. Some of those that were around during the time of, I dare say, the crack era, you know, there was still a lot of blacks wanting blacks to vote for them. But at the same time, we had this epidemic going on in the streets. And at the same time, there was no concrete effort towards how to decrease the acceptance of out there selling it. I'm not addressing those who use the drugs because as humans, we all going to take a chance on a new get high. Some of us are. And those that took a chance on that did not know some of the addictive problems and the long-term effects that this new get high will cause. It wasn't included in our education. So I want to ask you two gentlemen that graduated from high school, how much information were you told about the addictive problems of using heroin? And I'll sit back and listen.
They didn't talk about it.
Right. Nobody talked about it. We
Nobody
didn't know
talked
about
in
it.
school.
That's what happened. You know, that thing had not, the black community across the country had never faced that particular problem before, the drug addiction. They needed us to work. You can't give slaves no drugs and think they're going to produce, they're going to work. When we were sharecroppers, they wasn't giving us no drug. Matter of fact, we didn't have any money to buy the drugs. Drugs were in this country, and you had to have money to purchase the drugs. Drugs, the heroin, came over through, I would say, through and with the Chinese population. They came over on the West Coast. At least that's what Dr. John Coleman says. And so when they set up the drug operation, if you want to import a drug like heroin, you have to have somebody that's going to use the drug. And the Chinese were heroin and opioid, which was the poppy plant. They were users of those products. And so they brought the Chinese over specifically to bring the drug trade, and they had somebody was going to consume the drugs in America. Now, that's totally contrary to what we heard. We always heard that the Chinese were brought over here to build railroads.
Yeah, that's the only thing they ever say, railroads and cleaners.
Well, I didn't never understand that though, Carl. When you had black folks, you had slaves that would build a railroad free.
Right.
So it just never made any sense. I couldn't put my hands on it, couldn't put my finger on it. But when this particular professor wrote a book about it, and he was talking about it, how they brought the drugs into America, and they needed smokers. They were the Chinese, and I said, "Wow, wow." So that's where they really fit in, because I never understood, ladies and gentlemen, how you throw free labor away. They use black folks all over this country, from New England, New York, all the way to down south to Mississippi, and all the way out to Texas as slaves. And now you bringing a railroad though. You bringing a railroad from Pennsylvania and all these places where they had slavery, and out west, and you don't want the free labor.
That don't add up, dude.
It didn't add up.
Didn't add up.
Okay, so when this drug epidemic came, after the riots, or during the riots and this protest movement, don't forget we're going to 10 o'clock, we'll be on after 10 o'clock. We're going to take a break at the top of the hour. If you're on the line, just hold on, and we'll get you at the top of the hour. So there was a movement by the government to stop this protest. There was a student protest in Vietnam. That's when they come out with Woodstock. But what they didn't tell us was they gave the dope away free at Woodstock. Who is they? The government. When that Woodstock concert that they talk about out in New York that most brothers wasn't invited to, there were a lot of white folks getting high free. Oh, and on the West Coast, in that Asbury Heights district, the hippie land, they were getting free drugs. They were getting LSD. And that's the one thing that you got to be aware of with this new marijuana, this synthetic marijuana that they spraying with these drugs. I say spraying with the drug, but they're mixing with the drugs.
Yeah.
You're going to lose your man.
You're going to lose something.
Huh? Well, it's going to take their man. They're going to be badder than Batman, badder than anybody out here from this overdose on the drugs. In the past, people smoked some weed and it didn't do nothing to them.
No.
You can't do that now. And since we don't know what they're putting on the drugs, we better leave the drugs alone. But that's what happened. We're going to continue that at the top of the hour on the other side of the break. On the other side of the break, we got to say a FCC station break. And I'm your host, Ty Sonderling.
Co-host Carl Williams.
And we'll be right back.